All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast weekly real estate tip. And today I'm here to break down how to obtain expired listing clients through letter campaigns in as little as 3 weeks. So, if you are somebody like myself that doesn't like having to pound the phones all day and work the phones all day, where you get expired home sellers reaching out to you, calling you to come list their homes, we're going to do a deep dive breakdown on exactly how to do this. And this has been a letter campaign that's been a huge part of my business for about 18 and a half years. Look, when I first got into the real estate industry in 2005, there wasn't Facebook, there wasn't YouTube, really weren't using the internet a whole lot, especially for lead gen. So it's kind of the like old school fundamentals. Like you did expireds, you did FISBOs, you hit open houses, you door knocked, right? There wasn't the same amount of options to go out there and grow and scale their business in the way that we have. And so I started hitting expireds early on, hitting the phones, and I got really good at it, but I just hated it. I hated my whole entire business. Like I've always wanted business coming to me versus me chasing it, attraction versus chasing. And I've just found that inbound, number one, it's more enjoyable. Number two, it buys back more time if I don't have to sit there and pound the phones for 2, 3 hours every day. And I got people reaching out to me that buys me back time. And I just enjoy it a lot more. It's also much more scalable. And as you're wanting to go from, 2 deals a month, 4 deals a month, 8 deals a month, 16 deals a month, and you want to grow and scale, inbound is really the key to being able to really scale that business and buy yourself back that time. So about 18 months into my real estate journey, yeah, I got really intentional about how do I get expireds to call me? Because there's a lot of different ways to go after expired, just like there's a lot of different ways to generate any type of business. I mean, with expired, as an example, I can call them, I can door knock them, I can scrape the data, go to Vulcan 7 or whatever, scrape the data, upload it into a Facebook custom audience, run online campaigns to them. I can do mailer letter campaigns. There's lots of different ways that we can reach out to them. But again, for me personally, my favorite way of doing business is getting people calling me. So instead of me chasing expires, we're like, oh, you're the 30th realtor to call me today. I get that call where it's like, hey, Josh, we've been receiving your letters. We've been, thinking about getting our home listed. Want to see if you'd be willing to meet with us to talk about listing our home. Those are the kind of calls that I love. So today I'm going to do a deep dive breakdown, step by step, on my mailer strategy I've been implementing for 18 and a half years. That's made me a ton of commissions over the years. If I went back and calculated, I mean, hundreds of thousands, if not close to 7+ figures. Personally, not counting my team, personally, I have listed over 20 homes in a single month through this mailer campaign. Now, full disclosure, the title of this video of how to, get listings through this letter campaign within 3 weeks. The reason I titled it that way and the reason that sparked, kind of the idea for me to create this podcast here today on this is I have an agent partner in British Columbia, Canada. So in British Columbia, Canada, in Canada, and it's different province to province. But for those of us that are here in the States that are maybe watching and listening to this, there's different call restrictions. And again, it can differentiate per province, but there's a lot of them where it's like, hey, you cannot like you can't get the data, you can't target specific, expireds or FISBOs by picking up the phone and calling. They have different laws. And I know here in the States we have different laws too, but Canada is a little bit more strict than this. So, okay, hey, we could do letter campaigns. So with this, he started the letter campaign. Well, at least he reached out to me asking if I have any effective expired mailer campaigns. So he texted me on August 26th, and I told him where to go find the expired letter campaign. And I'm going to walk you guys through it all. I'm going to actually share my screen here as we get deeper into this. For those of you that are listening to this on audio, I'll do the best that I can, read through the whole letter, explain the rhyme to the reason. If you can't see it visually, I'll make it as powerful as I can, even if you're listening to this, not watching this. So he reaches out to me on August 26th. I don't know exactly when he started mailing this. It could have been less than 3 weeks. But he reached out to me about the letter campaign on August 26th, told him where to go access it. Then text me on September 15th. Hey, I just acquired my first listing from the letters. Now I want to make sure that everybody understands what the average kind of timeline is with this mailer strategy. So for me, an averages, like when we're doing things in averages, like you're going to have people immediately, you're going to have people years down the road, but average is after letter number 8, 6.2 months after I put them on this mailer campaign is on average where I get that inbound call. So when anybody's doing this, look, you might get lucky and get immediate listings right out of the gate of this, but my recommendation for anybody that starts this mailer campaign, because on average, it's a little bit longer of a nurture versus just picking up the phones and getting listings today. I wouldn't recommend sticking with this if you are not committed to doing this for at least 7, 8 months, right? So I kind of wanted to have full disclosure there. It's not clickbait. This took place, got a listing in less than 3 weeks. I've had coaching clients, agent partners get a listing the first day, right? First mailer, not first day, but first mailer they sent out, get the call. So within the first few days, get a listing, but that's not the norm, right? So we might get lucky, get them sooner than later, but it is highly effective. And if you don't want to be pounding the phones all day long, again, this is, a highly effective strategy that I'm going to break down here for you today. Now, real quick, before I jump in, share my screen and break this down. If you are a real estate agent, if you are a team leader, if you are a real estate brokerage owner, and you're interested in learning more about partnering with me at EXP, where you get 100% full free access to all my coaching, all my training, all my materials, all my mentorship, along with my business partner, Mike Sherrard, who's the best in the world, hands down, in real estate at AI, social media, YouTube. So if you're interested in how we can partner together, how you can get all of our coaching for free at no additional cost to you, how we can pour into you and help you ensure that you are hitting your real estate goals, there is going to be a link below where you can schedule a 100% confidential, 100% zero pressure Zoom call with me personally. And when I say zero pressure, look, I'm not here to recruit you, not going to hard push you, not going to sell you. I'm just going to walk through, hey, here's what we got, here's what we're doing, here's how we work, here's all the coaching, training, support, systems, all the things that we provide, answer any questions that you have. And at the end of that call, if you think it's a fit for you, great. If not, that is okay too. We can still be friends. You have my word on that. I only want to roll with people that want to roll with me. So if you are a driven real estate professional that's serious about dominating your real estate goals and creating the life that you truly want to go out there and create, there is going to be a link below, wherever you're watching this. In the show notes or the description, the top link will be a link where you can go ahead and schedule that. Okay, so now let's jump into this. Now, before I share my screen and break down the actual letter itself, there's a few essential things that I want to walk you through that are really important to having success with a letter. So the first thing that we talked about is, look, when it comes to timeline. And the reason why this is so important, last week I released a podcast, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, on making sure that you give yourself enough time, right? Too many real estate agents, you might be, guilty of this and currently or in your past as well. Where we just don't give things the adequate time that they need to start seeing the results. So if we're not going to give things the adequate time that they need to start seeing results, it's not even worth doing. So as an example, one of my top agents on my team started this letter campaign January 1st of 2023. Did not get any listings until July. Then in July, got 7 listings and was averaging 7 per month every single month after that fact, right? And he had some months where he's even hit 9 listings in a month. So this takes time, right? So making sure that if you're going to start this, that you're giving this at least, 7 months at a minimum. I'd recommend committing to a whole year, when it comes to this. Then from there, let me take a step back. Because of that frequency, and I'll talk to you about frequency here as we get deeper into this, we got to make sure that we're mailing with enough frequency. This is not a one and done, right? Even though I'm using the same letter, same thing, right? But I want to have consistency with those mailers over time. So I want to make sure that you understand that and have that. Okay, so again, average listing call that I get 6.2 months, letter number 8 that I've been sending, for some time. And you guys, those that end up not having success with this letter campaign, this mail or expired letter campaign, are those that try to get in and tweak it, add something different to it. And I'm not saying that I'm the end all be all know all, but look, I've been at this letter for 18 and a half years. I have done all the split testing, tweaking. I mean, from envelopes to body copy to images to pictures to call to actions. I have tested the living hell out of this letter. So just, I got 18 years of testing and perfecting, this strategy. So my recommendation is just to follow it to a T. Don't do anything different. Okay, so we got to make sure that the letters are getting out, and I'll talk to you deeper about the frequency as we get deeper into this. But then from there, okay, they received the letter. I don't care how good the contents are inside that letter. What's step number 1, right? Outside of, okay, you put the letter in the mail, they get the letter. What's the first step? It has to get opened. So thinking of this, anytime you're doing mailers, and this will probably help you for any type, whether you're mailing probate, any other type of lead source. Okay, we're here to talk about expireds, but it's kind of like an email. Like, okay, your email copy inside the body might be epic, might be massive, might be amazing, but if it ain't getting opened, okay, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, right? So it's like, okay, a subject line, having a compelling, attention grabbing, curiosity creating subject line, then it gets them to then open the email where they actually read it. So here we need to get them to open the actual letter. So here's what I found to be most effective. Standard white envelope. And then on that envelope, I want you to use blue handwritten ink. So blue ink, right? So white envelope, blue ink, first class stamp, right? So don't go out there and try to bulk mail these first class stamp. We want to make it look like this is coming from, more personalized they can get, because it creates that curiosity. Because how many personalized letters do we get anymore? Not very many. So it creates curiosity, gets open. So here's some other important things. You want to handwrite this, so no labels. And again, these shortcuts that I see other people taking, I tried it too, because it's a pain in the ass to write out every single letter, every single address, right? So labels would be much easier, but it's not as effective. So we want to go efficiency is not a good thing if it diminishes effectiveness. It's all about how effective can we be? Yeah. And then I want to look at how can I become the most efficient while maintaining effectiveness? So I want to handwrite this out, no labels, even with your return address, no labels, like your name. I'm not going to put my real estate business name. It's going to just be my name, Joshua Smith. And then with your address, you want to make sure that the return address is from a place that doesn't look like a business. So like when I first started doing this letter, the first brokerage I was with my first 10 years, that brokerage, that building was on Bell Road. Everybody in my market knows there's no homes, there's no residential, anything on Bell Road. It's just nothing but businesses. Okay. So I didn't use that address. And whether you want to use your personal address, or if you're in an office, like my, current building or current office, like nobody would know. Well, I guess I just gave up the building now that I'm working virtual and working from home. None of my agents would ever go to the building, so I just gave it up. But when I had my last business address at 15282 West Brookside Lane, like nobody knew that was not a residential home address. Now, if you don't feel comfortable, and I understand why you wouldn't feel comfortable using your home address, you can go through virtual mailbox companies like Phoenix Virtual Mailbox. There's virtual mailbox companies very popular in the investor world, where they're writing out all these, extremely low cash offers. They don't want people to know their home address because they might get insulted, whatever. So those virtual mailbox companies are very inexpensive. When the mail, it's actually not a physical address. It's a made up one, but it looks like a residential real estate address. Then when they any mail that you get returned to you, they'll scan it, send it to you. So then it was return mail. So that's always an option there. But that's the envelope itself. So again, don't take shortcuts, just nail the envelope, as is. Okay, now let's talk about frequency. So it's kind of like follow-up, right? But we want to have the frequency with the letter, and the letter is our follow-up, versus frequency with phone calls or emails or text messages, right? So I send the letter day one, whether they're, and for me, I take expireds, canceled, withdrawns, and I throw them all in the same bucket. So I'm hitting expireds, canceled, withdrawns. To me, it's a listing that was listed on the market that came off the market for whatever the reason may be. Yeah, right. So I'm kind of putting all these in the same bucket. You can choose to do that or not. But then from there, I'm going to mail out the letter day one. Then every 21 days for 6 months, every 6 months for 2 years. That is the frequency. And here's what's always blown my mind is this has happened to me, I don't know, at least half a dozen times, if not more. I go into a listing appointment. We get to the kitchen, get down with the tour, we get to the kitchen. They stand up, go to one of their drawers in their kitchen, open up that drawer, pull out a stack of my letters. Now, what's blown my mind about that is think about the psychology of that. Number one, let me ask you this. How much room do you have in your kitchen drawers? If you're anything like me, dude, like all our kitchen drawers are pretty stacked, family of five, 3 kids, like there ain't much room left in those drawers, definitely not to keep some marketing materials. So they made room for them. They saved them in their head. They're like, one day we're going to sit down with this guy and we're going to pull out these letters so we can show them that we saved. So if I look at the psychology of that, I'm like, dude, they already knew they were going to use me. And they thought that through in their head, which I think is really cool, really powerful, right? So that is the frequency. Now it's going to be the same letter each and every single time. And this is one of the reasons why it took me so long to really hone this strategy in, is I kept thinking like, dude, it's got to be a different letter. Like when I'm mailing out a pre-foreclosures, it's like a different letter every week for, 10 weeks. So I thought it had to, I kept overcomplicating, kept tweaking it, kept up. What I found to work best, convert the best, is the same exact letter, same exact messaging every single time. And what makes it easy on that is once I create the letter for them, right, I just save it in a Google Drive folder. So in 21 days when I'm resending it, I just have to print it, right? It's already addressed them. It's already got their photo on it, which I'll show you all of that here in a moment. So same letter, same style envelope every single time that I'm sending it to them. And we want to think about, with expireds, only about 10% relist immediately out the gate. 90% wait, a few months before they relist. It's like, yeah, they might still have a goal selling, but they're sick and tired of making their beds every day, sick and tired of getting their home prepped every day. They still have the same goal selling. They just need a pause. They just need a break. And that's where these letters are really capitalizing on, right? Is those that are longer term. And most that are calling are one and done. Maybe they call day one or they call that first week, but then they're one and done. And so it makes these so effective, over that kind of longer term, nurture campaign. Okay, so let me share my screen here with you guys and go through this actual letter itself. So we talked about the envelope. Now I want to go through and show you the letter. So let me go into my agent university here, go into my expired letter strategy. Let me pull this up, pause the audio, and then pull this up. Okay, so there's some things that are cut off at the bottom that you can't see that I'll walk you through here. Well, let me actually bring that up first just so I don't forget. So at the very bottom, and it's cut off here, you can't see it in the video because I'm just pulling up a video and then I have a download, but I don't have Word on this computer, so I can't pull up the Word doc. So at the very, very bottom, I have the equal housing realtor logo, the crap we got to have, and you can meet with your broker, make sure everything's broker compliant, but I'm gonna have the equal housing realtor and MLS logo. Then below that, I have just a sentence that says, if your home is currently listed buy a real estate, I think it's like if you're whatever, and talk to your broker about the verbiage. I think it says if your home is currently listed by a realtor or by a real estate agent, please do not consider this a solicitation. So that protects us then. And again, I'm not a broker. I'm a real estate agent that's just, sold a ton of homes and, trains and coaches other people on how to sell a ton of homes. So check with your local broker to make sure you have the right verbiage. But that protects me in case, okay, boom, they get the letter in the mail and then their home got relisted. Maybe their agent was getting ready in the process of relisting it, gets relisted that night. I sent the letter out that morning. By the time they receive, because we're not allowed to solicit other active listings. So, it states right in there, if your home is currently listed by, another real estate brokerage, please do not consider this a solicitation. So it just has that kind of cover own ass. Okay, then from there, if we start chunking down and breaking down this letter itself, let me make sure that I'm sharing the right screen here. Okay, sorry. Looks like I was sharing the right screen. I just couldn't see it. So then from there, when we look at the letter itself, so we look at the psychology, and it's really important to understand psychology per lead source. How I speak to expireds is different messaging than a FSBO, different than a probate, different than somebody going through a divorce, different than a Zillow lead, different than a Facebook lead, Google pay-per-click lead, open house lead. Like you got to understand timeline and psychology per lead source if you want to have success with conversions. So if you look at what's going on with an expired, it's like I got to make sure, not that I just say the word, so, but I got to get them to believe that number one, it wasn't your home. You got a beautiful home, your home wasn't the problem. Number two, your goals can still be met. Number three, the unfortunate mistake that you made is you hired the wrong real estate professional. The good news is I can get the job done. So I want to articulate that message to them. So that's why I start off. If you can see this at the very, very top, bold print, sometimes even the finest of homes do not sell. So I'm telling them right out of the gate, hey, your home wasn't the problem. It's not your home's fault. Then below that, for the attention grabber, right? Because I want to grab their attention. And this is usually what the picture is what's going to grab their attention first, is a picture of the front of their home. Well, Josh, I don't have time to go out there and take a picture of all the front of these homes. I don't either, right? So here's what I do. Now you can, I'm not coming at you from a broker, from legal advice or whatever. I use the image that was used from their previous realtor in the MLS. Now, when I list their property, I'm going to get my own marketing photos. I'm not going to use any of their marketing, anything. I'm going to do all my own stuff. I'm just using this photo to send the homeowner that hired that agent, that the agent let down, or maybe they weren't priced right. Maybe it wasn't the agent's fault. That can happen, right? But I'm just using this to only send to that homeowner, right? Then once I list the property, I'm going to get my own. So I don't see a problem with it personally. Maybe you do, maybe, right? Like, okay, cool, right? Just figure something else out. But you can always check with your broker. I don't know if this is compliant, not compliant. I'm just showing you what I do. I'm not here to, give you real estate legal advice. So I got that. Sometimes even the finest of homes do not always sell. Boom, picture the front of their home so it captures their attention. Now, with the testing I've done before, I've tried taking, like just having a generic photo doesn't work. It doesn't have near the results, right? So it's the customization that really allows the customization of the envelope, the customization of the letter that really allows this to succeed at a higher level and stand out, right? So I got to picture their home. Then from there, deer. Now the only thing when I create these letters that I have to swap out is the image and then their name. So it just takes a few seconds, right? Maybe 30 seconds to copy and paste the image, right? And then, getting the tax records, get their name. So maybe it's Dear Joe and Sally, right? I'm going to have it personalized to them. People, again, it's attention grabber. They like seeing their own name, hearing their own name, right? So it looks like, again, I want to portray that, this is customized, this is directly to them. So that's going to get them then to hopefully read the rest of what we got going on here. So, and for anybody that's watching this, of course, you can screenshot this, take a picture of it, but anybody that's listening, maybe you're at the gym or driving, I got a quick, so I got, sometimes even the finest homes do not sell, got the image of the front of their home, dear their name, and then under there's a quick paragraph. And I'll read the paragraph for those of you that can't see this. I know how frustrating it can be to have your house not sell. I am not here to beg you for your listing. Why do I insert that right out of the gate? Because I know they've had a bazillion realtors call them and beg them for their listing, right? So I find that sentence right there to be really powerful, right? Because they feel like all these other agents, were begging them for their listing. It's like, where were you at when my home was listed? It's like, hey, I'm not here to beg for your business. If you want to work with me, if you want to get your job done, cool. I'm here for you to serve support and help if you want me to, but I'm not here to chase you. I'm not here to beg you. So I am not here to beg you for your listing. But if you are considering listing your home again, I'd love to have the opportunity to interview for the job. As realtors, we all have access to the same tools, but what matters is how well we utilize those tools. Here are some of the things I do differently to maximize the tools we have. So again, I'm articulating that, hey, your home wasn't a problem. Goals can still be met. If they're still considering listing their home, hey, I can meet those goals. But then hey, the mistake that you made is unfortunately you hired the wrong real estate professional. The good news is I can get the job done. So I'm trying to articulate that through this letter. So whether I'm on the phone, whether I'm doing an online ad, whether I'm doing a letter, I'm articulating the same message. Then from there, now I just have, 6, 7 bullet points. This is actually 7, but the seventh one is much, much more, right? So 6 bullet points of unique selling propositions. Now, with this, you do not have to have the same USPs I have. I have plenty of agent partners and agents that I've coached in the past that don't have like a your home sold or buy it guarantee. That doesn't matter. That's not what the differentiator is, right? It is just about differentiating yourself. What are things that you do differently, even if they're things that every other agent does out there? And I'll give you some examples of this here in a moment. You know, um, uh, most agents do a very, very poor job at articulating what is that they're doing. I had an expired listing one time. I took the image from the MLS, I shot the letter. They called me up. I got them. They're like, oh, I love the image that you took of the front of our home. We've been begging our realtor forever to update the photos, and they never did. Well, that was their agent's photos. Their agent did what they asked them to do. The agent just didn't communicate to them that they did it, right? So again, most agents just do a very poor job at articulating. This is why the general public thinks that we don't do crap. We work our asses off. We do an insane amount, but the general public doesn't understand that because most don't articulate what they do. So, okay, I'm just going through different USPs here. So, your home sold in 59 days or less guaranteed, or I will buy it. Now, a couple things here. This is a slightly older version of the letter. Not everything, when I say older version, the letter, I haven't changed this letter in probably 16, 17 years, right? Once we crack the code, it's the same letter, right? But then from there, when I adjust this date, if you're going to offer any guarantees, like home sold guaranteed, or I'll pay you money, or your home sold guaranteed, or I'll sell it for free, or if you don't want to do any of these, you don't have to. But like in this case, okay, if my average days on market was 87 days in my market, I would adjust this to whatever average days are so I have enough time with it. And just so you know, like these your home sold or guaranteed or I'll buy it. Like, dude, I've never bought a house. Doesn't mean that we're not legit with that, but I have investor partners and it's a way for me to feed my investors. One of the reasons why I do it. There's ways to structure, some ways that I teach my agent partners of how to go structure these where it's compliant. You're covered with all of that stuff on how to offer these different guarantees. But you don't have to do a guarantee like that if you don't want to. Again, the guarantee itself doesn't matter. So then, okay, this is the rest of are things that pretty much all of you can do and all of you are doing. So then I have my 1-day listing agreement. I do not believe in contracts. I believe in accountability. If I do not do what I say I will do, you can fire me anytime. So my 1-day listing agreement is just a standard fire me guarantee. Just instead of saying fire me guarantee, it's a 1-day listing agreement, right? Which states in the additional terms of a listing agreement, after 24 hours, your home being listed on the MLS. If you wish to cancel this listing agreement, you can do so at any time without any cost, hassle, or obligation. So I tell them, because one concern, one fear that an expired has is, hey, look, our last agent told us all these things too. They told us they're going to do a lot. They fell short. They didn't get the job done. So now I'm able to go to them and say, hey, you can't make a mistake with me. If at any point in time you don't think I'm doing anything better, if you don't think I'm doing anything different, if I'm falling short of my promises, you can fire me that same day, anytime, without any cost, hassle, or obligation. Allows you to be in full control, allows it where you cannot make a mistake with me. So this is one of the most powerful guarantees that I've ever done in my real estate business. Okay, your home will be listed on 2,000 plus national and global websites. That's something all of you can use, right? So, okay, with it, you put on the MLS, IDX, syndication, boom, you're probably on 2 million plus websites. I don't use the million number because it's kind of unbelievable, but I just look at this. Okay, I got 60,000 agents just in my market. Okay, let's just say half of those have IDX websites. Okay, that means 30,000 local IDX websites they're on. They're on Zillow, they're on Realtor.com. They're going to be any platform, whatever that syncs with the IDX, where there's a shit ton more than 2,000 of them out there. It syncs on. But again, most agents do a poor job about articulating this to them. Call capture and text capture technology, right? All that is an IVR system, right? Which they can call for recorded information, text for text flyer on that property, captures information so I can follow up with them right away. High definition professional photography with 35 plus photos. Hopefully everybody's doing that, right? Full-time support staff and much, much more. So regardless of what these are, you just want to solidify, okay, what are some things that you do? Maybe you have a communication guarantee. Maybe you have, there's all these different things that we can do that are really easy to come up with. That I spend a lot of time with my agent partners coming up with different unique selling propositions to differentiate themselves from the competitors, or at least articulate it in a way, even if it's the same thing that you're doing, you can articulate it in a way that it seems like you're standing out from your competitors, and it's doing it in a way that your competitors aren't, doing. Okay, then I have my call to actions to sell your home for the highest possible price in the quickest amount of time with the least amount of hassle. Call today. Then below that, there's a space there. Then call today to schedule a no hassle, no obligation, absolute no pressure listing consultation to see if I'm a fit for you. Then I've got my company information, I'll insert a business card. And again, at the very bottom of the letter, I have the disclaimer. If your home is currently listed by another, currently listed on the MLS, or currently listed on the market by another real estate professional, please do not consider this solicitation. And you get with your broker to make sure that you've got the right verbiage there on that. And then I've got the MLS equal housing logo so that can protect me. Okay, so that's the letter itself. Now, a few other things that are really important. Um, so okay, when I'm sending these out, right? So let's just say it's the letter number 2, 21 days later. I will cross check the MLS to make sure they're not relisted. If they're relisted, then I'll pull them off my campaign. So I'm not wasting time, not wasting stamps, not wasting energy, on ones that have already been relisted. I'm just going after, new properties. Then from there, I will do this letter. For most of my career, I've hammered this letter out. The only time I didn't was during the kind of lockdown boom that we saw, the post, lockdown COVID boom, where we just saw price, like nothing was expiring. I've just found that when inventory gets below like 2 months, 3 months, it starts to, not hit as well. Under 2 months, it's just like the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. So I might get to the point where I'm getting one listing, per 600 letters sent. Once we get to, 400 plus, months of inventory absorption rate, that's where it starts to get good. I've had this letter convert as much as one listing taken per 200 letters sent. Now it's total letters sent, not 200 people on the campaign, but total letters sent. But we got that frequency where I'm going to mail it day one, every other day or I'm sorry, not every other day. Day one, every 21 days for 6 months, and every 6 months for 2 years. And then look, what I do to just kind of organize this is I have a task queue on my CRM that just tasks me, okay, here's when to send letter 1. So then it just tells me, okay, here's letter 1's been sent. Now I got to send letter 2. Then I got to send letter 3. Then I got to send out letter 4. Then from there, I have a Google Drive folder specific for these, where then once I've mailed this out to them and I've created the letter, they go in there where I've got their letter saved, got their address, so that way I can just grab that letter, print it once. Total cost for this, now I haven't ever actually broken down total cost, but like meaning like what's the cost of the ink, cost the envelopes. My best guess is about $1 a letter, between first class stamp, envelope, ink, those things, about $1 a letter. So then if I look at this, if I'm, listing one, let's just say I'm listing 1 out of 400, that's still listing taken per $400 spent. That's pretty damn good, especially if you're making, $10,000 on a listing that you're taking, right? Or a listing that you're selling, average commission. When we have that. So the higher the inventory though, the better the letter overall converts. But again, I just want to stress this point. If you're a coaching client of mine or an agent partner of mine, you want to start doing the letters, I would tell you, if you are not going to commit to this for 7 full months, at a minimum, don't even do it. Don't even start. You're just wasting your time, wasting your energy, wasting your money. So then you want to budget correctly too. Like if you have, like we're all seeing a big, massive uptick in expireds, okay, oh, I want to be strategic with this. What are the zip codes that make the most sense? That you want to list. What are the price points, types of properties? Because you probably can't, quite yet afford to go out there and just mail them to everybody. Right. Like we got to be able to budget accordingly, for this as well and make room for it financially. Last thing that I'll say about this letter, yeah, I get inbound leads. That's amazing. I love that. Right. But then from there too, the other thing that I love about it is my prime day. So let's just say 8 a.m. till, 7 p.m. prime day for, lead gen, lead follow-up, prospecting, showings, listing appointments, buyer appointments, all of those things. Well, I can do the letters at night. And when I first started, go work my busy day, come home at night. My wife and I would watch a TV show, whatever, and just start stuffing envelopes and folding letters. Or if you got kids, you can have kids do, whatever. But it can be done after hours. So it doesn't have to then interfere with actual prime time hours during your workday. And then from there, what I did is after I sold, a few of these, I just started setting aside money where I could hire, an assistant that came by my office 2 to 3 days a week for a few hours to stuff these envelopes. And it got busier and busier and busier where, I had a, full-time person that was able to start doing these for me. So when I first started off, I just hired one of my friend's kids, that was in, junior high, and they just wanted some extra money, and I was able to, bring them on. And so there's different ways to kind of, delegate this out. But to the point where I'm going here is where it can grow into once you automate the actual letters through, an admin doing these for you is all I got to do is take the listing calls. And hey, Josh, receiving your letters, think about listing our home. Want to see if you'd be willing to meet with us, talk to us about selling a home. Yep. Got this time available tomorrow. Which one of those works best for you? Book it, lock it in. Yeah, right. Fully automate it. All I had to do was take the inbound calls and obviously go convert the listing and get it sold. So that's the overall letter campaign. Hopefully this is helpful. Guys, if you have any specific topics that you'd like me to cover here in the podcast, just drop a comment. If you're watching this, at least on YouTube, drop a comment. I want to create content that's of value to you, that you feel is impactful. So any questions, concerns, if there's any specific things that you'd like me to cover here on the podcast, love to hear that feedback from me. Drop a comment below. And again, if you are a real estate agent, real estate team leader, or real estate brokerage owner, and you want to learn more about what a partnership with me at eXp can look like. And when I say partnership, I'm not talking about us, being a team together. This is your business. It's just me in the back end and my business partner, Mike Short, in the back end, helping you and your agents from a coaching mentorship aspect. And it doesn't cost you anything. You get all of our coaching mentorship 100% for free, where we help you crush it inside your real estate business. So if you're interested in learning more about what that looks like, there's going to be a link below in the show notes or the description where you can schedule 100% confidential, 100% zero pressure Zoom call with me personally, where I'll walk you through, here's what we got, here's what we do, here's how we work, here's how we operate, here's all the additional coaching, training, mentorship systems, tools, that we offer you and all of your agents to help you and ensure that you guys are crushing it. Answer any questions they have, and look, at the end, if you think it's fit for you, great. If not, that is okay too. It may not be for everybody. We can still be friends. You have my word on that. Everything I do, zero pressure. So anyway, guys, hope this was helpful. Keep crushing it, keep kicking ass, and I will see you next time. Peace.